Well, these results are even shocking to me, believe it or not. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We're going to be comparing here Triple H and Rob Van Dam. So this is what I'll do. I'll be doing it with two wrestlers side by side. I did one for Kurt Angle and Bret the Hitman Hart, which you can check out as well. Let's talk about their in-ring ability. So first, Rob Van Dam. I mean, I have him at a 9.6 out of 10. His physical in-ring abilities. I mean, unbelievable athlete. Some of, very innovative. This guy was an innovator. That's why he's that high. And he's one of the best to ever do it in the ring. Unbelievable abilities in the ring. And this is in totality. This guy had matches where you could say he was a perfect 10. Rob Van Dam was an unbelievable in-ring performer. Very entertaining, highly entertaining to watch. I think that goes without saying. Very versatile. As far as Triple H, definitely not the versatile, athletic performer that a Rob Van Dam is. I have Triple H in a very good 7.3. I do believe while I believe his in-ring abilities are overrated and overstated by the wrestling community, that doesn't mean he's bad. Okay, 7.3 is very good. And as I do more of these, you're going to see how I'm grading these guys. So not as good as a Bret Hart, obviously not as good as a Kurt Angle, definitely not as good as an RVD, as an in-ring performer. As for in-ring storytelling, also known as, in-ring psychology, I give Rob Van Dam a very good 8.3. He's excellent at it. He's really good at selling and telling a story. Takes bumps when necessary. He's one of the few guys of ECW that I felt was very, very good at that. His psychology in his matches were always there, whether it was a regular singles match, whether it was a hardcore match. He always knew how to sell. He knew how to tell a story in the ring. He got better over time, of course. And even as his physical abilities began to dwindle, his psychology got better over time. As far as Triple H, 7.0 is still very solid. It's still very good. All right. Way above average. So you have an idea. Average will be like a 5. Okay. So he's good at psychology. He'll have matches where he's pretty solid. He'll have matches where he's at an 8, and sometimes in rare cases maybe close to a 9, but he does miss the mark a lot of times. He misses the mark a lot in in-ring psychology. I could give you 2 quick examples. I think he does get overrated a lot in in-ring psychology. And one, the in-ring psychology in the match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania, when Randy Orton had attacked his father-in-law and his wife, and had a regular singles match that did not resonate in the ring. And Seth Rollins, when he cut a promo, saying he's going to end his career, and he just has a regular match with Seth Rollins. He's trying to win the match, not trying to end the guy's career. They told it was not a very good story that they told whatsoever. Mic work, I do put Rob Van Dam at a 5.1 out of 10, just a little bit above average. He definitely got a little better over time, but it was never his strong suit, okay, being on the mic. But I still think it worked for him. Like, I don't think it hurt him whatsoever as a performer. He was so good in the ring that it was okay if he was just above average on the mic. Triple H, love him, hate him, but whatever the case is, you can't take away his mic skills. This guy is phenomenal on the mic. I do rate him pretty high, a 9.1. Very solid. He's had promos that you could say are a 10. He's had some that don't quite hit the mark. I just gave you the example of the Seth Rollins promo. I mean, he just made it sound like he's going to end this guy's career. A one-legged man has never won anything, and he's cut some very good promos. He's very good on the mic. It's one of his strongest suits. A Triple H on the mic, you can't take that away from him. I think he's overrated in the comedy department. You know, he's okay, I guess, but when it comes to being that serious cerebral assassin, he's very good on the mic. He can sell a match very well on the mic as well. All right, so character dimensions. I mean, both these guys, you know, they're definitely above average. You know, as far as showing different, you know, sides of themselves. Rob Van Dam, you know, wasn't always the cool weed head. He was probably maybe a little too much of it, but like I said, I just think it worked. But he could be serious when it mattered. And he had different, not just in the ring, but outside the ring as well. Nothing phenomenal, but definitely above average. A good amount above average. And Triple H, same thing. Rob Van Dam, to me, while he could be a face, which is why, or a heel, I'm sorry, which is why I have him a little above average. You know, Triple H, same thing, just the opposite. Not very good as a face. You know, he's definitely mostly a heel, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of guys like that. So they're both a little bit above average, but nothing special in having different dimensions to them. So, some may say, well, what about Triple H? I mean, he could be the cerebral assassin, but he was also on DX and this, that, and the third. Well, look, the reality is Triple H did surround himself with Shawn Michaels and with Chyna when they were over. You know, but and he did okay, but I just don't think, you know, I don't remember anything amazing that he did in comedy or anything like that. Definitely not at the level of a Kurt Angle. So I just have him above average for trying, but I don't think he has that many dimensions to him overall. It was just someone that was at the right place at the right time. I mean, I remember the power trip, you know, with Stone Cold and tagging with Stone Cold. Triple H always had, whether it was a dance partner, always surrounded himself to hide the fact that he did not have a lot of dimensions. That's just a reality. All right, storytelling outside of the ring, you know, psychology outside of the ring. I have Rob Van Dam with a very solid score of 7.6 out of 10. Okay, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at that. His presentation, RVD, Mr. Monday Night. You know, a lot of times, you know, it was pretty basic phrases and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it resonated with the crowd. Crowds were engaged when Rob Van Dam was out there. He could probably be a lot higher, and maybe he's not higher because it was out of his control. He never got the push, okay, that he probably deserved to be more consistent, you know. But I think that's a pretty solid score for him. As for Triple H, look, I don't like Triple H, but his psychology outside of the ring is far better than his psychology in the ring. Far better. I mean, this guy will make you believe he's going to end the career of Seth Rollins. He's going to go after that leg, and you know, he's a great job at selling a match. He's a great job at having a good perspective, a good storyline. You know, he's good at that. So, and you know, he does run NXT, and I think it shows. His psychology does show in NXT. He is the guy that runs it, after all. I'm not saying he's the only one that does stuff in NXT. Don't get me wrong, but you can tell, you know, that it has good direction. And of course, while Triple H almost always fails to deliver the psychology in the ring as he does outside the ring, we are rating it, of course, piece by piece. Now, what's ironic is that if you look at the total score, I have Rob Van Dam at 36.6 out of 50, and I have Triple H at 38.6 out of 50. But make no mistake about it, I was a far bigger fan of Rob Van Dam. You know, it just so happens that's how the numbers added up. But if you look at the things that really matter, like when you look at a Rob Van Dam, the reality is people didn't care if you couldn't cut a Ric Flair or Roddy Piper type promo. They just didn't care. He did good enough because his in-ring ability, that 9.6, at the end of the day will make you stand out. If you're a 9.6 in wrestling ability, you could be a 0 in almost everything else, maybe besides ring psychology. You could just be average at ring psychology, but everything else outside of the ring could be at 0, and you'll still stand out. So make no mistake about it. It's not to look at the total score and say, oh my God, you think Triple H is better. That's just how the numbers added up. Okay, the total score doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Okay, this is just something I'm doing for fun. Okay, um, Rob Van Dam definitely deserved the push. Right? They never did much with Mr. Monday Night. You know, they never gave him that chance. You know, why did they? They had an opportunity to do a Rob Van Dam versus Bret Hart feud. You know, especially, I mean, Vince could have done that. You know, they could have done a lot. You know, but unfortunately, he never got the push he deserved. Rob Van Dam is one of my favorites of all time. I'm not a big fan of Triple H, just for the record. Right? This is D Style. Tell me what you think. I'm out.